ॐ ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामय सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखात् भाग् भवेत्. We pray for the peace and happiness of one and all. May everyone be comfortable, happy, healthy at all levels of the personality. May we see that which is auspicious and divine. May there be no suffering anywhere. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Anyone has any question? Okay. Let's do 141. Secret of success. The secret of success. Akbar and two Rajputs. Once two Indian Rajputs went to the court of Akbar, the great Mughal emperor of India, and sought employment. Akbar inquired about their qualifications. So, before I continue, we are studying this to get those insights into spiritual life, which Swami Ramatitha will uh, spoke about it so powerfully and sometimes in very, very simple parables. But sometimes the inspiration is very, very too high. It's more impractical. So you have to be careful. I think this is one of those stories. Akbar inquired about their qualifications. They said they were heroes. Akbar asked them a proof for their heroism. Both drew out their daggers from their scabbard. There were two lightning flashes shown in Akbar's court. The flash of dagger was symbolic of their inner heroism. Immediately, the two lightning flashes joined the two bodies. Each kept the point of their dagger on the other's breast, and both gave proof of their heroism by running their dagger with stoic calmness. Their bodies met on earth, fell bleeding to the ground, but their souls united in heaven. A very peculiar proof of their heroism was given to the emperor. This is the illustration of the fact that true work is accomplished only when the self-asserting worker is sacrificed. So you don't have to kill yourself. We don't have to go to that extent, but it's completely full involvement, full participation. And self-asserting worker is sacrifice of the ego. There is no thought of protecting oneself or what will happen to me. Complete selflessness. Yeah. Sacrifice your little self, forget it in the performance of your work. Little self is ego, that I am doing it. One of the beautiful practices to overcome the ego is function as an instrument in the hands of the divine. So when we say, I am just an instrument in the hands of the divine, the thought is on the divine. And automatically the understanding is, I'm just an instrument. So you humble the ego and the accent is on the divine. In the Vedanta treatise, in the chapter of exigency of action, some portion talks about action, how to rise above the ego, how to rise above the little self. Keep your mind on the divine self and work. When the mind is on the divine self and we work, we rise above the ego, the self-asserting ego. And when such work, success must be yours. It cannot be otherwise. The desire for success must die in your work before achieving success. This is the secret of success. When shall I be free? When I shall cease to be. When shall I be free? When I shall cease to be. We are bound by our ego. If we forget the ego and remember the divine, we are completely free. I remember reading these two lines. When shall I be free? When I shall cease to be. I thought it was spelling mistake. I said, what rubbish is this? What kind of literature is this? When shall I be free? When I shall cease to be. Now understanding is, okay, there is a small I, which is the personality, and there is the capital I, the Supreme Self, which is the same for all of us. Supreme Self is the homogeneous conscious principle enlivening all of us. That is divine. So accent is on the divine. I am just an instrument in the hands of divine. Any questions or comments? This was 141. Do 142. The secret of invincibility. The three asuras. In the Hindu scriptures, there is a magnificent story told about three persons called asuras. These three persons had wonderful powers. They were warriors. Nobody could get better of them. They were wonderful people. People who came and fought with them were defeated immediately. Hosts of enemies came and were defeated. The men who fought them came in thousands but were defeated by these three persons. The enemies, being defeated so frequently, went to a great saint and asked how they could beat these three fellows, and the saint told them they must inquire into the cause of their invincibility. How were these three asuras invincible? With great effort and trouble, it was found out the secret of their invincibility lay in the fact that these persons never entertained the thought they were workers or enjoyers. No kartritva bhavana, doership, no bhoktitva bhavana, enjoyership. In them, the thought was not there, I am the doer, nor the thought was there, I am the enjoyer. Just 1 second, sorry. Come in. Yeah, I mean, you can see. When the victory was gained, they thought nothing of it. They did not stoop down to enjoy the victory. When they were fighting, the idea, I, as this body, am fighting was entirely lost. The idea I am fighting was entirely absent. Such are the heroes in this world. You know every hero in war, while engaged in action, as people say, I am all ears. So the hero is all action. There is no room left for the idea I am doing. Whereas his body gets mechanical, so to say, he is all action. His head and feet are saturated with divinity. So such people, whenever they fought, became all action. And they never for a moment allowed the idea, I am acting. Just as a machine worked, their bodies worked. Machines of God, machines of divinity, their bodies worked. This was the secret of success. Nobody could win them. Now the secret of their invincibility being found out, the great sage told the enemies of these three warriors the means of conquering them. He told those enemies to engage in action with them and then run away from them, go to them and call them out into action just when they were begin to attack, to leave those warriors as conquerors. Just thus to draw them out and flee away from them. The enemies of the warriors drew them out and fled from them. Thus a few times more were the enemies of those warriors defeated. By and by, those three invincible warriors were drawn out of their true position, were drawn out of their real invincibility, and brought down into their bodies. They were made to believe they were conquerors. They were made to believe that they were great, that they were victorious. Those continued victories and continuous victories endangered them in them the idea that they were victorious, they were conquerors. Here was the three men brought down into the cage of the body. Here were the three men put into the prison house of the body. The idea I am doing and the thought I am great got hold of them, held them in prison. There the God in them was replaced by the small ego. And then it was no hard task to win them and catch them and imprison them. It was not a hard task when they were defeated immediately and immediately were they caught. As long as you are doing a work, as it were, your body being a machine in the hands of God, same line as instrument in the hands of God, your personality being merged in divinity. So long as you are in that position, you are invincible. You are like the three asuras, above the idea I am enjoying, I am doing. You are invincible. But people come to you and begin to praise you, to puff you up and flatter you, favorably review you from all sides. You are made to believe you are the conqueror, a hero. You are victorious. Others are defeated. Your rivals are against you. Like those, they are like those three asuras. The idea I am doing it, I must enjoy the deed, I am the enjoyer. That very thought imprisons you, brings you down into the cage of the body. You are undone, the power is lost. Go out of the cage and you are inspired. Go into the cage again, you are no more. Merging of the personality into divinity leads to invincibility and power. Getting out of the divinity in the personality leads to defeat and ruin. Long story.
They said that when they were asked to drawn out, what was it trying to say? Did not follow.
Yeah. I'll explain. See, they were in terms of action, they were performing the highest quality of action. They literally considered themselves as machines of divinity. It's a very beautiful terminology, machine of divinity. You know, these thoughts can come when we can say that you're in the zone. You're in the zone. You're effortlessly doing something. So effortlessly means it is your swadharma and you have already put in a consistent effort. So it just flows out of you. And you're doing it not for any selfish purpose, not even for any unselfish purpose. You're just doing it. So that's why we say it's a selfless action. And if you're able to remember the thought of the divine, you don't even have to remember it, it just flows. So these warriors, they were in such a high state, high frequency, they just fought. But what that sage did, I mean, it's just a story. They would call them for victory, they will call them for a fight, and without the fight, they'll say, oh, you've won, you've won, you've won. So indirectly, they slowly started getting the ego that I don't even have to fight. So in the beginning, the action protected them. They were merged in the action. So the ego did not get a chance to, I am doing it, thought was not there. So later on, the action is not there, but I am one. I am one. I am one. So slowly, by trickery, the sages, they started becoming okay. We are invincible. So he manipulated to get the ego back. And once the ego came, they lost their the grandeur of that activity. So lowest form of activity, I am doing it, and I am doing it because I want something out of it. Much better than that is I am doing it, but I am doing it for the welfare of others. That is also not really spiritual, though it is much better than a selfish activity. The best form of activity is God has given by divine grace. I have this talent. I'm used this talent. I just express the talent. Of course, direction is for the welfare of others. If we are able to forget ourselves, so the story is worth remembering is for these lines. So long as you're doing your work, as it were, your body being a machine in the hands of God. The thought is on the divine, but body is active. If the body is inactive, that is tamas. If the thought of divine is not there, body is active, that is rajas. But if you are able to combine this, you're doing what you're supposed to do, but not forgetting God. The body being a machine in the hands of God, your personality being merged in divinity. So this requires purity, this requires knowledge, this requires contemplation upon the higher. Your personality being merged in the divine, remembering the divine is all full, supreme, ever blissful, ever at rest. So you are attuned to that spirit in you and then functioning. It cannot happen when we are selfish. So therefore, lot of training is required to be unselfish in life. And where you are anyway not required to do anything, for example, there you just remember the divine and just be there. No but the divine. So long as you are in that position, you are invincible. So if we, this is where we say, in sports they say he's gone into God mode. What is this God mode? It just they flow. They don't even know what the body does. I was fascinated when somebody has, Virat Kohli, when he hit those the two incredible sixes. This is, I think, 2021 or 22, whenever, a few years back. India was playing Pakistan just before Diwali in Melbourne Cricket Stadium. 80,000 people are watching, and Virat Kohli had a very, very bad year. But in that particular match, he was playing well, and when it was like 8 balls, 28 runs, he hit two sixes, and they were not ordinary shots. Everybody keeps watching that replay because they were extraordinary shots, some almost like impossible shots. And he hit those two sixes, and so then became last over 16 runs. And somehow India won the match. And when he was being interviewed, I was so fascinated. He said, I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know what was happening. It just happened. It just happened. So you're already in the zone. You're fully immersed in your work. You're fully immersed in the action. No, I am the doer. Nothing is there. It just flows. It could have been anything. I knew, I planned it. I wanted to hit it there. Nothing like that. It just happened. I don't know how it happened. So it's a combination of both Swadharma and a lot of practice. And so the body is just doing it and the mind is in a different zone. Those words are, very inspiring if you can remember. This body is a machine of divinity, merged in divinity. So there's no ego at all. And thereafter, therefore, he says, whether others praise you or don't praise you, it doesn't matter. The result doesn't matter. We are doing what we are supposed to do to the best of your ability as an instrument in the hands of divine. Thereafter, whatever happens doesn't matter. So you're free from all pressure. Just doing what you're supposed to do. Automatically success will come. Any questions? Somewhere else there is a term. Sorry. I think it's Swami Ramatita only, or maybe from this, motoring along like a machine of divinity. You're functioning as a machine of divinity. There's no personalization at all. Whatever is the result, that the divine will decide. I am doing what I'm supposed to do. So that sage tricked the asuras into becoming egoistic. See, sometimes, thanks to Vedanta, that so we have to assess our personality properly. There are many a times we underestimate ourselves. I'm talking about the individuality. See, I can't manage your individuality. You can't manage me. Everybody is responsible. It's like I am responsible for Basar. Now, sometimes we underestimate ourselves. What we have to realize is, if the company is Rolls-Royce, there cannot be a defective Rolls-Royce. It will be the best product. Similarly, all our manufacturers, whether we like it or not, we have all risen out of divinity. We've risen out of Brahman. Each one has a very unique, very special role to play. And with the amount of experience that we have in life and amount of knowledge that we have in life, everybody is very, very unique, very, very special. We have extraordinary qualities. sometimes we make the mistake of not believing in those qualities. We are always underestimating ourselves and not valuing what we really are. So, one is to have a lot of self belief in the qualities and use it for the good of all. Use it for what we say Loka Sangraha, for the general welfare of all, for everyone. And then understand this is the role I am playing. Our true identity is the divinity. So, what I'm trying to say is sometimes we don't assess ourselves properly and underestimate ourselves. We do not have self-belief in the individuality, in the goodness of the individuality. We are not bad products. We cannot be bad products. We are extraordinary products. There is something very unique and special in all of us. That's why we say each one has a role to play. The mountain has a role to play, the squirrel has a role to play. Everybody is very, very special and unique with reference to the role that you have to play. You have to play that role remembering the divine. Okay. Let's check 157. Let's try 157. It's on the screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. The companion's effect on transmigration. Transmigration is reincarnation into next life. Sorry. A sage questioned by a cat and not a dog. There came two men to a sage in India. One of them, oh God. Two men came to sage in India, one of them with the temper of a dog and the other with the temper of a cat. Or it might be said a cat and a dog came to the sage. So two men came, two human beings came, but their nature was like a dog and a cat. The dog put this question to the sage, Sir, here is this cat or this cat-like man. He is very wicked and sly, he is very bad. What will become of him in his next birth? Afterwards, the cat-like man came to the sage and put the same question. Sir, here is a dog or doggish fellow. He is very bad. He is snarling and barking. What will become of him the very next birth? Anybody wants to answer? As you think, so he becomes. The cat-like person is thinking of the dog. Next Janma, he'll become dog. The dog-like person is thinking of the cat. Next Janma, he'll become cat. So he said, don't see it's a choice of action that we have. Everything is like a rose. If you want to see the thorns, you will always remain with the negative. So powerful is this law of karma. If you see negative, you miss the positive, you remain negative, you become negative. That dangerous it is. So many great philosophers says, if you are seeing other people's faults, that means you don't have time or the inclination to improve yourself. If you really want to improve yourself, you will have no time to see other people's faults or get involved in it. You don't have to judge others, assess, avoid, and see the positivity. By getting involved in negativity, we do so much of harm to ourselves. Whereas if you are training ourselves to see the positive in every situation, there is good in everything. I remember this quote: a stopped clock is right twice a day. Even a stop clock is right twice a day, isn't it? So you can see goodness in everything. Then what happens? You become positive. So the cat-like guy is going to become dog, and dog-like guy is becoming cat. The sage kept quiet, but after the questions had been repeated very often, he said, "Brothers, it would have been better if you had not put these questions." But they insisted upon a reply. The sage said, "Well, here is this cat. The cat keeps company with you, O dog, and he or she is imbibing your habits, living with you, is all the time partaking of your character. Well, in his or her next birth, this cat will become a dog. What else can it become? And as to the dog, well, it is keeping the company with you, O cat, and is all the time imbibing your characteristics and is sharing your habits. Well, in the next birth, he must become a cat. Just as you imbibe the qualities of your companion in this life, you are bound to become in the next life. So taking this story, it's so important to keep satsang. Be with good people. First of all, we should be good and be with people who are better than us. I'm not saying avoid the people who you are helping. I'm not saying that. But we must seek good company, satsang. See the positive in every situation. So nice story. 157. See 158. See mountain and the squirrel. Now take up this. Your body may be like that of a little squirrel. Another body besides you may be like big as a mountain, but don't think you're small. Be as wise and as the small squirrel. Remember, even if your body is very little, you have a function to discharge in this world, which is very unique, which is very, very special, which you alone can do it. No doubt, the world doesn't need it. The world will go on, doesn't depend on our. The world will go on whether we are there or not. But for our spiritual growth, we have to play that role beautifully, as properly as properly as possible, which the big body cannot perform. Then why look down upon yourself? Be cheerful and happy. This is exactly what I'm saying, that we have to believe in our goodness. Our source is divine. There are extraordinarily good qualities in us. Be aware of it, use it to serve and grow. Why look down upon yourself? Be cheerful and happy. Everything, oh God. Everything is, let's go to it one second. Everything looking, however insignificant, is important, useful in its own place. We all have a role or place, play that role as gracefully, as perfectly as possible. Hence, indispensable. Has anybody, sorry, has anybody remembered the story of Yudhishthira and the dog? You remember? No. Okay. In a way, my spiritual journey in the academy started because of this story. Okay, the true companion, Yudhishthir and the dog. There was a king in India named Yudhishthira. He was walking the path of truth. It is said that he was going up to the Himalayas to let his body melt down in the snows. For some reason, for great reason, he was going with his parents, with his wife's brothers, 4 brothers, and on the summits of the Himalayas. It is said that he was treading the path of righteousness. He was going to seek the truth. There is actually a route somewhere, some trek somebody was mentioning that This is where the Pandavas and Yudhishthira went up. Anyway, doesn't matter. He was going ahead, marching on. His younger brother was following him, and after his younger brother came the other brother, and so on in the right order. And after the brothers was the wife of this king. He goes ahead, his face towards the goal, his eyes set upon the truth. He found his wife was bewailing behind him, tottering down. She could not follow him. She was fatigued and about to die. Here the king did not turn back his face, did not turn his face back. He asked his wife to run to him a few feet, and then he would carry her with him. Come up to me, come up to me. But she could not go up to him for those 3 feet. She was lagging behind. She could not manage to go up to him. He did not turn back. To turn back one step from the truth is not allowable. So don't take it literally that he did not go back and pick her up. Turn back from the truth means to do something adharmic, to become worldly, to get caught up in samsar, doing something where you're delaying your spiritual progress. He did not compromise with dharma. He did not, right interpretation is, at any point he did not compromise with dharma. He did not do anything adharmic. He did not get involved in worldly activities which will delay his union with the self. So why would any unselfish action, why would any obligatory action, why would any dharma or duty, if you do a duty, that is going to take you towards the self. So if you only perform desire-ridden, unnecessary worldly actions, that's going to take you away from the self. So he did not compromise in that sense. What we have to learn is turning back one step from the truth is not allowable. What is turning back? Doing something that makes you more egoistic, more selfish, more worldly, more something adharmic, and your conscience will never support anything adharmic. Never will King Yudhishthira turn back one step. The wife totters down, but for her sake, the king is not to turn back from the truth. Now here is the really hard-hitting paragraph. And thank God this is Swami Ramatirtha, right? It's not my story. Thousands of wives you have had in your previous births. If you have thousands of wives, thousands of husbands. If you have any future births, you don't know how many times you will be married again. How many relatives you have had, how many relatives you will have in the future. For the sake of these ties and relations, you have not to turn back from the truth. Go ahead, go ahead. Let nothing draw you back. This is what we have to learn. Have more respect for truth than for your wife means than for your relations. Have more respect for divinity. The truth concerns the whole human race. Divinity or truth concerns all time, is eternal. Not your worldly ties are not so. See, the relationships are given to us to see the divinity in them, to serve and sacrifice, to perform our duties, to get back to the self. Now, forgetting the self and getting involved in the relationship means you have turned back from the truth. Whatever obligatory relationships we are in, they are a means to see the divine, serve and sacrifice, do our duties without any expectations and get back to the self. Now, if you value this relationship more than the divine, the self in all of us, body, mind, intellect is different. The supreme self, the Atma, is the one homogeneous conscious principle interconnecting all of us. At the level of the self, we are all one and the same. That's why he says, have more respect for divinity. The truth concerns the whole human race. Divinity or truth concerns all time, is eternal. Your worldly ties are not so. Any relationship is momentary. Bear in mind the law. What is really good for you must be really good for your wife or your companions. If something is really good for your spiritual journey, it must be good for your near and dear ones. So this is the line which really helped me, because I was not sure what to do. But I was sure that if I do the 3-year course, it will make me a better human being and I'll come back and take care of my whatever family. But when this thing came, when this line came, what is really good for you must be really good for your wife or your companions, that really gave me the courage in that situation. If you see that for you it is really beneficial to live apart from your wife, Remember that for her also it is really good to live apart from you. This is the rule, this is the law. The same divinity or truth that underlies your personality underlies the personality of being of your wife for all human beings. If you are genuinely doing something for the sake of the self, if it is good for you spiritually, it will be good for every one of them. The wife of King Yudhishthir fell down, but the king went straight on and asked his brothers to follow him. They ran on with him for some time, but the youngest brother could not keep pace any longer. He was tottering, overtaken with fatigue, and about to fall when he cried, "Brother, brother Yudhishthir, I am going to die. Save me, save me." Falling down is not literally here. Falling down means he was doing something adharmic. King Yudhishthir did not turn his eyes from the goal, from the truth. He went ahead. He simply calls out his younger brother to gather courage to run up to him. Those 2-3 feet, he would take him along on that condition. But for nothing would he go one step behind him, even behind to give him even a pull. Means he will not give in to any form of temptation. The youngest brother dies. After a while, the second brother, who was at the end of the rope, cried and was about to totter down. He called for help. "Brother Yudhishthir, help me, help me. I was not going to fall down. I am going to fall down." But brother Yudhishthir does not turn back. On he goes. This way, all the brothers died. But the king Yudhishthir did not swerve or turn back a single step. Away he goes. He goes on the path of righteousness. He doesn't do anything worldly. The story runs that when the king Yudhishthira reached the pinnacle of truth, when he reached the goal, God himself, truth personified before him. Just as we read in the Bible that God appeared in the shape of a dove, so in the Hindu scriptures we read that God appearing to certain persons in the body of an angel or in the shape of a king of heaven. So the story goes that when King Yudhishthira reached the pinnacle of truth, truth personified approached and asked him to go in person to heaven, ascend to heaven, as we read in the Bible about certain people being raised alive to heaven. So here is the story of King Yudhishthir being asked to ascend to heaven alive. He looked at his right hand side, he found a dog with him. King Yudhishthir said, "O God, O truth, if you want to raise me to the highest heaven, you will have to take this dog also with me. Let this dog also ascend to the highest heaven with me." But the story says that God, or truth personified, said, "King Yudhishthir, that cannot be. The dog is not worthy of being taken to the highest heaven. The dog has yet to pass through many transmigrations. The dog has yet to come into the body of a man, live the right life, live as a pure, immaculate person. How then can it be raised to the highest heaven? You're worthy of being taken to the highest heaven in human body, but not the dog." There King Yudhishthir says, "O truth, O God, I come here for your sake, not for the sake of heaven or paradise." Means I come here to do the right thing, not because the right thing will give me enjoyment. There is no pleasure seeking motive. The motive is I must do what is right. Whatever happens, happens. If you want to raise me to the highest paradise and enthrone me there, you will have to take this dog also with me. My wife did not keep pace with me. She staggered on the path of righteousness. So it's not like she fell down and he did not help. Don't belittle the example. My youngest brother did not keep pace with me. He staggered on the path of truth. My other brothers did not keep company with me. They forsook me. They yielded themselves to weakness. So, some material weakness. They allowed temptations to get better of them. They did not keep pace with me. But here is this dog. He alone comes with me. Here is the dog. He shares my pains. He shares my struggles. He shares my fights. He partakes of my anguish. He labors with me. Here is this dog. If this dog divides with me my difficulties, my hard fights and struggles, why should he not enjoy my paradise or heaven? I will never go to your paradise or heaven if you do not make this dog share equally with me that paradise or heaven. I have no use for your paradise if you do not let in this dog with me. There the story says Truth personified or God said once more to King Yudhishthir, please do not ask this favor of me. Do not ask to take this dog with you. But King Yudhishthir said, away you Brahma. You are no truth, no or God personified. You may be some devil, you cannot be God or truth. Because if you are truth, why should you allow injustice in your presence? Don't you mark that if you give me the exclusive enjoyment of heaven and don't allow the dog to share it, my happiness, then you are unjust to the dog which shared my troubles. This is not worthy of God or truth personified. The story says that on this, truth personified or God appeared in his true colors. That very dog was immediately found to be no longer the dog, but to be the full glory of Lord Almighty Himself. The king was being examined and tried, and in the final examination, he came out successful. This is the way you have to tread the path of truth. Even if your dearest and nearest companions, those who are next of kin to you, do not keep with you on the path of righteousness, do not look upon them as your friends. If a dog accompanies you on the path of righteousness, that dog should be your nearest and dearest being to you. Again, satsang. That satsang are people who are encouraging you to be righteous and seek the self. You don't have to give up your family members, means you do your obligatory duties one-sidedly. If they are adharmic, it's their problem, their karma. You do your obligatory duties one-sidedly, but associate with people who will encourage you on the path of truth, on the spiritual path. Thus make your friends on the principle of favoring your righteousness, dharma. Select no friend on the principle of favoring your evil nature. That is dussang. Anybody encouraging your evil nature is dussang. If you select your companions on the principle that they enjoy the same kind of evil propensities that you do, suffering, anguish, and excruciating pain will be your lot. Avoid dussang, keep satsang. The true companion is one who accompanies you on the path of truth right up to the goal. Not he who may be the nearest, dearest kith or king but does not do so. Whole life's mission is to seek the self, because that is where our journey to find absolute happiness ends. So we will read out the important paragraph. Thousands of relatives, thousands of partners, thousands of lives we have had in your previous births. If you have any future births, you don't know how many times you will be married again. How many relatives you have had and how many relatives you will have in the future. For the sake of family and worldly life, don't give up the pursuit of the truth. For the sake of these ties and relations, you don't have to turn back from the truth. Go ahead. Let nothing draw you back. So it's not about giving up the family. It is using the family as a reminder of the divine. Your partner, your relatives, your children, all are a manifestation of the divine. We must recognize them as divinity. They are all God in disguise. There is that Emerson's quote. Human beings are divinity in disguise, God playing the fool. Each one is playing their role, but their true identity is the divine. Now we are, because of some karmic reasons, we are having a relationship. We are having some obligatory duties. Their obligatory duties can be for a very mundane purpose. Have fun, take care of each other, and live a worldly life. Or we are in this relationship. How can I serve you? How can I do my duty towards you? How can I one-sidedly have affection and love for you and see the divinity in you so that I can fulfill my mission's purpose, which is get back to the self. For the sake of these ties and relations, you don't have to turn back from the truth. Go ahead. Let nothing draw you back. Have more respect. This is the knowledge that we have to learn. Have more respect for the truth than for your wife, than for your relatives. Have more respect for your divinity. The truth concerns the whole human race. Divinity or truth concerns all time, is eternal. We don't realize that the self in me is eternal. Your worldly ties are not, they are momentary. Bear in mind the law, what is really good for you spiritually must be really good for your wife or your companions. The same divinity or truth that underlies your personality underlies the personality of all your near and dear ones. Amazingly inspiring and also insightful. Any questions? Okay. We'll end with the prayer. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The self in me is infinite. We come from infinite. We exist in infinite. We ultimately merge back into infinite. Thank you. Hari Om.
Yeah. Hari Om, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Ji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hari Om
Acharya
Basant
ji.
ji.
Thank you. Good to see you, Purushottam.
Yeah, same here. Same here, Acharya ji. Lovely to see you.